And Mr. Meehan, you are recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Pummel, I thank you for being here. But the IG did a service doing this report, and you've identified Philadelphia as being particularly problematic. It's standard procedure for 5 days to respond to inquiries, 31,000 inquiries, an average of 312 days for a response. What do you tell those veterans and those families?
There's nothing we can say to those veterans. It's wrong. It shouldn't have happened. We as an organization have to do better, and we have to figure out how things like that don't happen. There is no response you give to a veteran would be a legitimate response.
All right. Well, in order for us to do better, Ms. Rubins, these are not my words. These are the words of the Inspector General. The IG found serious mistrust and fear of reprisal, and they found conditions and culture that was that the confidence in management was greatly questioned. I mean, this is the words of the IG saying this. How does a culture get changed when this is what is believed of the management that's currently in place?
Thank you, Congressman Meehan. And I would tell you from the time I arrived at the regional office, I worked to make a connection with the employees, not just with managers, not just with supervisors, but out on the floor talking to employees, invited everybody who was employed by the regional office at that time to come in and meet with me. I held over 40 meetings.
You didn't invite everybody to the town hall that occurred when your supervisor came in, though. When Ms. Hickey was there, not everybody was invited to a town hall. Why not?
Sir, her time that day was very limited.
Why'd she have a town hall with employees if the people weren't free to speak what they wanted?
She actually that day met with service officers as her endeavor to reach out. She asked no supervisors or managers to be in the room and gathered input from our stakeholders that day.
May I ask, the report was scathing in a number of areas. Among them, that there was quality review team manipulation. There was an inappropriately altered document by individual quality reviews. When did you become aware of that?
Actually, when I read the draft of the report, sir.
You were not aware prior to that until you read the draft of this report?
I was not.
Ms. Rubins, it says that management was aware of these actions were occurring, but no action was taken to stop the pattern. You had been there 11 months by the time that report. Are you saying this went on and this was known, that somebody manipulated data, management knew about it, other people stood and looked aside, some people, the complaint, members of the VSC management altered the results of individual quality reviews for some employees, but not for others? And you're trying to tell me this much information was known and you first heard about it when it became published in the IG's report?
Sir, I'm anxiously awaiting the report from the AIB so that we can...
What do you need from the report from the AIB? You just heard the testimony. What are you doing about accountability? Who is the individual? And if you say you're out on the floor, why did it take you 11 months to find out that somebody altered documents that protected some employees and put other employees in a negative situation?
So I've been at the regional office just over 9 months, and I would tell you that I've worked to uncover as many things as I can. There are still days when I find things that I was unaware of, and I think that that'll go on, and I think that's important for me to keep asking the questions. And ultimately, if there's appropriate action that needs to be taken, we need to take it so that folks do have a sense of security in continuing to come forward as we continue to ask employees to do a tremendous amount of work.
I'm holding in my hand a photograph right here, which is the evidence of a timestamp machine, a date stamp machine, which is open and accessible, again, identified in the Inspector General's report. When did you first become aware that these time and date stamp machines were capable of being accessed by people other than directed by you?
In fact, when the IG was still on station and raised that issue, we took quick action to remove
When was that? You had been there for 9 months. When did that occur?
I believe that first came up when the IG first came in before I actually arrived on station. It was one of the issues raised as part of their management advisory, if I recall properly.
What time frame do you think that was?
June 19th of 2014.
So you did know right from the beginning. Why don't you tell me June 19th then?
Because I needed just a minute to think about whether it was after I had arrived on station or whether that was one of the issues raised as part of the management advisory. I've now read the entire IG report with 35 recommendations as well.
Ms. Rubens, I know that there are very many good people at the VA who want to do a good job. I know you have people in management that want to do a good job. But I've never seen a report as scathing, and I've never seen distrust as high. And you asked for an assignment to go to a facility. What is needed and what is being asked, Mr. Pummel, Ms. Rubens, is when is there going to be accountability? If you knew somebody altered quality review documents that implicated the performance of some and released the performance of others, that's fraud. That's potentially criminal behavior. Who is being held accountable and when is it going to be done?
Congressman, we're going to hold everybody and anybody that was responsible for the actions in these IG report that's confirmed by the AIB responsible. And I do agree with Ms. Halliday's statement to Congressman before. Most of our regional offices got this guidance right. So I don't believe that in the case of Philadelphia, where it was gotten so wrong, that it could have been a mistake. You're going to have to prove really, really hard to me that this was an absolute mistake when so many people got it right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you for your testimony.